Good afternoon. My name is Tanmay. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all on behalf of Intelliswift and Oracle NetSuite Solutions for today's webinar on how to scale up your high-growth business with cloud-based ERP. We thank you for being a part of this session, and we look forward to your active participation. Our esteemed panelists are subject matters in navigating growing company challenges with NetSuite's best practices. Today, we have with us Karan Hahn, co-founder and CEO, FarmPal Technology Private Limited. He is a self-motivated leader with 18 plus years of diversified industry experience in IT, manufacturing, and R&D. His excellent problem-solving skills has helped in solving mission-critical business pain points for industry leaders in the power sector, defense, railways, mining, professional consulting, and the public sector domain. Our second panelist, Vishal Khanna, Director, Oracle NetSuite India. He is a part of the leadership team for the NetSuite business within Oracle in India. His extensive experience in building technology businesses and working on ground with large multinational and local Indian companies has been instrumental in helping several organizations set up and grow their business. We also have Karthik Mohan, AVP Technology Solutions, Intelliswift Software. He is a seasoned technologist who has worked with several large and mid-sized India-based businesses. He has helped fast-growing companies to introduce, sustain, and improve best practices for their ERP implementation. Our discussion today will revolve around how high-growth businesses can improve decision-making through enhanced end-to-end visibility, the benefits of leveraging a unified system across business functions and at every stage of growth, how NetSuite provides a high ROI through rapid implementation, and NetSuite's mechanisms and its benefits to existing users. We will be starting with an introduction to Intelliswift and Oracle NetSuite, followed by a poll and a panel discussion, a segment on getting started with NetSuite, after which we will have a Q&A session, which will be open to the attendees, and a feedback survey. Intelliswift is a global leader in delivering digital product engineering, data management and analytics, cloud, digital enterprise, and MSP, VMS staffing solutions. Their mantra, love the new, helps them in transforming enterprises into thinking and being connected. Shekhar will now talk you through an introduction to Intelliswift. Over to you, Shekhar.
Thank you, Tanmay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure having all of you on our webinar. A quick introduction about Intelliswift. Intelliswift is a global technology and business solutions company. We are a digital transformation partner to numerous Fortune 100 companies and have a significant customer base in small and mid-sized companies globally. We have global delivery presence in the US, Latin America, and of course, 5 centers in India. In terms of our core digital transformation portfolio, we have digital product engineering, which includes application development, application maintenance, and application modernization, testing. The next key portfolio is data management analytics, where we help customers transform their data strategy and data transformation initiatives. And lastly, the digital enterprise, of which Oracle NetSuite is a key solution capability that we have. Having worked with a lot of Fortune 100 companies, we've imbibed the business agility as a key DNA within our organization, and hence we have really successfully taken this DNA to a lot of our customer engagements. We have a very strong partnership ecosystem. Oracle NetSuite is one of our most strategic partnerships that we have to help our customers transform their business operations. Apart from this, we have other key partnerships like Google, Salesforce, and other enterprise applications. The key component of our agility is delivery agility. All our programs run on the scale agile and DevOps model. We have solution labs and center of excellence for key technologies. Specifically for Oracle NetSuite, we have a solutions lab where we are able to work with the customer to do POCs and POVs, and do scaled pilots that will help them gauge the capability of the platform, which then can be taken to a full implementation. We also pride ourselves in working very closely with our customers in providing flexible engagement models, be it time and material, fixed bed, and also capacity based services. So, in short, in summary, we are small enough to care but big enough to dare. We have a global experience in working with the Fortune 100 companies, but a lot of our customer base, is in the mid-size and small size, customers.
Thank you, Shekhar. Oracle NetSuite is a unified business management suite that scales with your business as it evolves, encompassing ERP, financials, CRM, and e-commerce for more than 29,000 customers. Here's a glimpse into Oracle NetSuite. Over to you, Vishal.
Thank you, Tanmay. Thank you, Shekhar. It was interesting, hearing about Intelliswift, and we do recognize Intelliswift as one of the key partners in our journey in India, and you guys helping a lot of our customers in their digital transformation journey. Right now, just to give you a quick overview on NetSuite, we are essentially the first cloud company that really pioneered the cloud revolution. We are not traditional legacy system which has moved into a cloud. We were actually born into the cloud, right? And that's the biggest strength that NetSuite really brings in. I wanted to specifically highlight that because cloud is a very, very broad-based term. It's often misunderstood. Where people feel that cloud is more about an application being hosted out of a data center. There is a lot more that goes into giving a true cloud solution, which essentially means that if there are any changes in technology, if there are any changes in platform, we take care of it while our customers, just focus on their business, without worrying about any changes in technology. And with that confidence, if you look at our overall landscape, we have over 29,000 customers worldwide, and just in the last 12 months, we've added, over 6,000 new customers, across, over 215 different countries. So I've been talking about, the customers, again, a quick snapshot on the customer base that we have across, globally. Something critical that I want to highlight in this slide is our vertical focus. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution that we give to our customers, right? What we give to our customer is based on the business that they are into, right? The micro verticals, that they serve, or the micro verticals that they're into, and we give them essentially what their business requirements, So for software companies, we would give them NetSuite. For software companies, for manufacturing companies, we've got NetSuite. For manufacturing companies, for retail, we've got NetSuite for retail. For wholesale distribution, we've got NetSuite for wholesale distribution. For services, we've got NetSuite for services. For advertising media publishing companies, we've got specific, vertical solutions. For non-profit, we've got specific vertical solutions. For food and beverage, we've got specific vertical solutions. So it's more around the verticalized approach. The advantages our customers face is that because we have such a verticalized approach, we have pre-built templates within the system which result in faster deployments and earlier go lives for the customers. Now, if I just tie this back, with what I've been talking about in the previous slides, we've been working very, very closely with high growth companies, or fast-paced growth companies, and we understand exactly what are the needs of these high growth companies. At what point of time they are looking at raising capital, at what point of time they're looking at scaling their businesses, what are the challenges they encounter while they look at scaling their businesses, right? And if you look at our overall customer base, or even in the IPO breakdown, since 2011, 63% of the technology IPOs are actually NetSuite customers, right? In 2021 itself, about 201 NetSuite customers went the IPO route globally. And NetSuite customers in 2021 itself have raised about $123 billion, right? Now, this is critical. Why? Because we really understand the market demands. We really understand what the investors look at from a customer standpoint. at least from a process and technology standpoint, and we ensure that our customers are compliant with the requirements, as they look at scaling up their businesses. Now let's tie this down back to the India landscape. We have seen a lot of action in India as well. It's actually been a very, very exciting last 2 to 3 years for us, and with the traction that we've been seeing, in across major economies, especially in the PVC sort of space. We've a lot of our customers are actually come to us asking for NetSuite, that helps them turn around faster, and be agile from a point of view. Now, if you look at the Indian economy, it is actually forecasted to grow at around 8 to 8.5%, in fiscal year 23. And this is at the backdrop of 6.7% growth that India's GDP saw in 2022, which was second only to China's, right? Now, what that means is there is going to be a lot of action, as far as the market is concerned. It will give a lot of opportunity to our customers to rapidly scale up and look new avenues of their business. Another interesting statistic, if you look at the Indian market, the capital inflow is at an all-time high. In 2021 itself, about $42 billion was raised, from 1,500 and, about 1,583 deals that happened. And a lot of these businesses are looking at rapid expansion. They're looking at redefining their business processes. They're looking at new business opportunities for which they need systems that will give them better visibility, better control, and the necessary agility to be able to turn around faster to the market. Now, when the customers are usually in that journey, of expansion, they're looking at, really expanding their business, they encounter a set of challenges. We understand these challenges very well, which is where we try to make things more efficient for them, with the help of our partners who bring in the vertical specialization, as well as the consultative experience, like Intelliswift brings in. Right. So let's quickly look at what are the key challenges that is actually holding back a lot of these customers, from rapidly expanding their business. The first and the foremost, which I hear literally every time I speak to a customer, is a real-time visibility, right? Now, as the businesses are expanding, what happens is when they're looking at multiple avenues, typically there is a legacy system, which is being run. There are certain business functions that are happening out of spreadsheets. There's a lot of manual data entry that's happening, which results in inaccuracy of data and inaccuracy of reporting, right? Again, because of all these challenges, the data is not relevant. The data is sometimes, not very current, which results in loss of sales, right? And then, accounting is done in a very, very traditional system, which has its own limitations, right? There is a combination of Excel, consolidation becomes challenging, right? And there are so many different systems, what happens, so many systems running in silos, disparate systems for finance, some other system for, sales, some other system for operations, something running on Excel sheets, right? People tend to fear technology, right? There's too much focus on technology. It is so complicated to maintain, and there is an inherent fear. Now imagine if there is a system which actually takes care of all of this in a single, easy to use application, and that's where we really help our customers in their digital transformation journey. How do we do this? We give them a very, very scalable solution, which is easy to use, easy to deploy, and has a faster turnaround time, right? It allows them to start small, as at the stage at which their business in, and scale up in a step by step manner as their business grows, right? So if our customers choose, they can just start with doing financials. They can include things like CRM. They can include things like supply chain. As their business grows, they can include things like e-commerce. As they rapidly expand to other geographies and other countries, we support multiple subsidiaries, we support multi-country tax, requirements. We ensure localization is taken care of with a very, very powerful tax engine. We support multiple currencies, right? Essentially, we take the entire, gamut of requirements that these businesses has from a visibility standpoint, from a scalability standpoint, from a control standpoint, from a compliance standpoint, and give it to them in a easy and simple to use system, which is NetSuite, right? So, essentially what I've been talking about, how we help our customers, from an agility standpoint by giving them real-time visibility into their business needs, right? If we want to try and simplify things for them as much as possible, right? If there is a sale that has closed by the sale team, we do not want the finance team to go ahead and do the duplication of creating a new record. We want that information to seamlessly flow to finance, right? If there is an information needed by some from a management, from a reporting perspective, there are ready-made dashboards and reports pre-configured and built within the system. That is the speed at which we want to bring in operational efficiencies within the system. I often get this when I talk to my customers, I often hear with the legacy system, whenever there was a management requirement for a specific report, they would either have 4 or 5 people working in building that report for at least 3-4 days, or they would reach out to their IT team or the partner, who would really look at the requirements, say that this will take 2 to 3 man days and this is how much it would cost. We at NetSuite actually help, the system is so easy that our users do all of these reports themselves. They don't need to code. More about point and click, configuration of the system. As long as they have the data, they know what they want from the report, they can do it themselves. That's the power of the system. That's the speed at which the system, really adapts to it. Adaptability, as and when our customers expand, beyond India into newer geographies, we are ready. The system is ready. All they need to do is, add the countries, add the modules, and from a localization, from a compliance standpoint, the system is completely ready, which works with them as they are, as those companies are growing. And then the best part of it is the platform. Given the scalability, given the flexibility that the platform gives, the powerful functionalities like being able to configure strong workflows, role-based access, permission-based access, right? The entire platform is designed where customers find it easy, to use and allow their business to be more agile as they scale up. So interesting. We will now, I've been talking a lot, it's always good to hear, the real thing from, our customers, especially how NetSuite in real life has been deployed in a real life experience. I thought it would be good to share, what our customers feel about NetSuite, how our customers have benefited, from NetSuite. And here's a short video on one of the customers who's also in the panel today, Karan from FarmPal Technologies. Good to hear the FarmPal story and how they've benefited by deploying NetSuite. Can you play the video, please?
When I was growing up in small village, I used to go to the local market to sell fruits and vegetables, and most of times I used to come back with disappointment, never get the best price, and there was no transparency. I always used to think about one day I will solve this problem, not only for my family or only my village, but for the whole country. If we look at the Indian agriculture industry, it's very complex.
There's multiple layers of middlemen in this industry. There's a lot of inefficiency. As much as 50% of the produce is just wasted in distribution. And what that also does is leads to farmer exploitation. Essentially what we are trying to do is cut out the middleman so that we can bring in that efficiency, pay the farmer more, help the customer get better service, better quality for a reduced price.
So we are directly reaching out to the farmers. Farmers has got the mobile app. Farmers can see that what price is offered by the other markets and then what price is offered by the FarmPal.
We are essentially trying to balance the demand with supply. So we are connected with the farmers at the back end, we are connected with our customers at the front end. And what we are trying to do is forecast the demand patterns and ensure that we have that supply.
फार्मपल कंपनी आल्यामुळे ज्यावेळेस आम्हाला जादा बाजारभाव मिळावा लागला, जास्त बाजारभाव मिळाल्या कारणामुळे आम्ही शेतामध्ये 2-3 पिकं जास्त घेऊ लागलो आणि 2-3 पिकं जास्त घेतल्या कारणामुळे आमच्या इन्कम म्हणजे जे उत्पादन याच्यामध्ये सुद्धा चांगली वाढ झाली.
There was 3 major reasons choosing NetSuite. The first important thing is we are growing rapidly. The second thing is easy to use, and the third thing is about the implementation time. NetSuite is very simple to use, and the people using NetSuite in our company is not tech savvy. They are adopting just like using a website, Facebook or WhatsApp.
We have our customers in the city who use our mobile app. These orders feed into NetSuite And then from there, the order fulfillment, inventory management takes over, managing our inventories, managing all the financial data. So what NetSuite does for us is it provides a window into the end-to-end process. It generates the end-to-end data, which is then something we use for our data analysis and driving our decisions.
Suite Success has got all the standard processes mapped into the system, so we don't have to do additional customizing.
NetSuite will help us grow because we strongly feel that technology is the backbone that will help us achieve success. That's where we see NetSuite as a very important partner, because we have built the framework which helps us scale. Today we are connected with 1,000 plus farmers. We want to be connected with 10,000 plus farmers, 100,000 plus farmers. Similarly, on the demand side, today we have 100 plus customers. We want to take that to 500 plus, to 1,000 plus, 10,000 plus.
The future for the Farm Pal is expanding rapidly across India, so we can touch to every farmer's life and we can change their life, increase their income, and when their income is increased, the whole nation will grow.
Great, thank you for playing that video. With the real life experience, Tanmay, I'll hand this over to you. For the next set of panel discussions and taking us ahead.
Thank you, Vishal. That video was a great way to show us to enhance our understanding of NetSuite and how that's helped your client. Before we move forward, I would just like to remind all the attendees to please post any questions you may have in the Q&A box for the panelists to answer later on. We now have a few poll questions in a panel discussion. Attendees, you will be able to see the first question on your screen, after which a poll will be launched. We request you to kindly select the choice of answer that suits you. Can we have the slide with the first question, please? I hope everyone is able to see the question. You have about 30 to 40 seconds to choose your answers. Moderator, could we have the results, please? Okay, I hope everyone is able to see the results. To get started on a discussion around this topic and based on the poll, I'm going to be asking the panelists a few questions. Our first question that was posed to the attendees was, what are the top 3 challenges your organization faces? Moderator, can you please pin the panelists? Thank you. Karan, we would like to hear your perspective on how you scaled FarmPal and what challenges you faced during the early years of your organization.
Yeah, thanks, Tanmay. And this question is very relevant to me since we are running an startup. We started 4 years back, and we are into the agri supply chain where the whole industry is unorganized. And when you try to organize something which is unorganized for decades and for centuries, the challenges are completely different. But I'm really happy to say that the participants, what they have voted for the challenges, pretty much same challenges we have faced in. So for any industry, any organization, nowadays all the functions, those are working in their own different direction, but that should be connected to each other. If that is not connected to each other, then it's very difficult to run the organization. And that's where actually I find that initially when we were started, our situation was like on daily basis, our business is completely, it's very, we are dealing into the perishable commodity. So you can understand that we have a very less time, and a lot of transactions are involved when we collect this perishable commodity from farmers and delivering it to the thousands of customers at last mile. A lot of transactions was there, and initially we were doing that all into the Excel sheet. And I very quickly realized that this is not going to work. We have to have something which is connecting to each other. We are giving a complete data, the single source of truth, where we have a clear visibility of what we are doing. And if we don't have that visibility on daily basis, then we will not be succeed in this business. And I think in last 4 years, a lot of startups came into this business, this segment, and perish within a couple of months, couple of quarter, and even in years. We are the only one startup in, at least in Western India, we survived. Just because of that, we have selected the right kind of technology, right kind of tools and systems at very early stage. And that's what I think I would suggest to every participant here, that the game of being into the business and making it successful we should have a right tools, the right technology in place.
Thank you for sharing your perspective, Karan. Vishal, Karthik, it would be interesting to hear your views on the poll pulse and if it aligns to the challenges your customers had before embarking on the ERP journey.
Yeah, thanks, for that question, Tanmay. I could so relate to the poll results. This is something we experience almost on a daily basis. If I circle back to the poll results, I think the biggest issue that most of our audiences and participants faced is around disconnected business processes, right? And that actually is because of the manual data that they use, that creates unreliable data which impacts business visibility. And if you look at the results, it's all in that order, right? This is exactly the operational challenges that NetSuite resolves, right? When I talk to a lot of my customers, most customers would have a standard accounting system, a legacy accounting system in place. Now, when they are running their sales, they're running their operations, for manufacturing companies, who are rapidly expanding, when they're running their production operations, quality distribution companies, when they're running their distribution operations, they're using different systems which are not talking to each other. Right now, imagine, I'll give a real life example. A sales guy, who's working with an existing customer, who's a repeat customer, right? He's trying to go to that customer, pick up an order. He doesn't have visibility into whether he can give credit to the customer or not. Usually what happens, he would just call the accounting guy and say, can I pick up this order? The accounting guy would say, I can't tell you right now, give me some time, right? These are exactly the challenges that NetSuite resolves through real-time visibility, business visibility. The guy on the field, who's going to meet a customer, he's got complete 360-degree view of the customer, right? The finance guy has got a complete 360-degree view of the customer. Now, mind you, when I say this, it doesn't mean that everything is exposed to everybody. NetSuite is a very, very role-based system. Our customers decide who needs to access what level of information down to the field level view, right? So from a security standpoint, it's a highly secure system, but these are exactly the operational challenges we help our customers resolve.
Absolutely, Vishal. In fact, I would second that. Again, as Karan and Vishal rightly mentioned, typically during the initial phase of growth, right, the focus is obviously on kind of building and growing the business. So often your data entry or transactional information, like your orders, your inventory movement, invoices, payments, etc., that typically, you start capturing in disparate sources, again, maybe in a combination of Excel sheets, different homegrown systems. And obviously, right, at a given point, it becomes inefficient, right? So to get that larger strategic view, a real-time view, it's extremely difficult, right? And again, from an organization perspective as well, I think the different divisions within the company, like your sales, supply chain, finance, etc., they're also not able to collaborate efficiently, again, because of a lack of a single source of truth, right? So that's the typical challenges, that we often see, and that's when the management typically wants to, kind of get into the exercise of, kind of looking at a ERP and seeing how best it can improve their operations.
Thank you, Karthik and Vishal. Can we have the next slide, please, with the second question? Moderator, could you launch the poll as well? Attendees, I hope you're able to see the next question. We request you to please select the answer that you would like. We have a few more seconds left to answer this question. Thank you for answering that. The results of the second poll question should be visible on your screen now. The question was, when is the right time to invest in an ERP? Moderator, could you pin the panelists, please? Vishal, Karthik, this question on the right timing to invest in an ERP worries a lot of executives. Can you please share your perspectives on this?
Yeah, look, I was looking at the poll results and a majority of them said whenever a company is poised for growth, which is so true, right? Every company needs to look at that inflection point when they should really deploy a mature solution in place. However, I do want to highlight something, that the earlier you deploy a robust, scalable ERP system, the better it will be from a business operations standpoint. And I'll tell you why I'm saying this, right? This is also subject to the investment, that a business can make, and how much really do they want to invest in technology. But if there are necessary investments, if you look at it, when I say the earlier you invest in technology, what happens is whenever the businesses are small, they feel that they can make do with some manual systems. They can make do with some local legacy systems that are available in the market, right? And they will wait for the company to reach a certain scale before they can start investing in technology, right? Now, what happens in the meantime is there are so many disparate systems that data is spread all across. And when they reach that inflection point of investing in an ERP solution, there is so much data scattered across that a simple implementation actually becomes more time consuming and complicated, because you have to then move the data. You have to look at all the different systems, and try to bring everything into the ERP system. So I often personally recommend that if the necessary investment capability is there, the budgets are there, every business should invest in a true scalable ERP system at the earliest possible. And this is where we also add a lot of value, right? When the businesses are small, we allow them to start small, right? Just financial accounting, for example, somebody wants to start with a 5-user financial accounting, basic financial accounting, we allow them to start small. As they scale up, they don't have to look at disparate systems. Somebody I was looking at the Q&A. Somebody sent in a question around how would NetSuite help a growth stage IT services company. You start by just bringing in financial accounting. You add sales to capture your deal origination. Before sales, you add marketing to run all the campaigns. You want to measure ROI on campaigns. From that, you want it to go to sales. You actually want sales to use NetSuite so that whatever your offerings are, the quotations and contracts and all of those things can be configured and sent from within and NetSuite. Map resources from whenever you win the projects, obviously that information goes to finance and the project management team. They're able to map the necessary resources, manage time and attendance, all of those things. And all of it is in cloud, right? Nothing is perpetual. They can easily scale up. They can start as small as possible. So my personal recommendation is as soon as possible, right? Instead of investing time and resources into legacy system, having multiple silos running, just look at a solution that will start as small as you are today and scale up. As simple as that.
Thank you, Vishal. Karan, as you were scaling up, we are sure you walked a tightrope in prioritizing many strategic initiatives and budgets across different functions. What would be your advice in the right time to invest in an ERP system?
Since we started very small, and any startup or any industry starts initially very small, and then people try to think about that, okay, since I am so small, and do I really need the ERP at this stage? But my experience is that since I am coming from the background of ERP, I worked with the ERP industry for 17 years before starting my own company. So I knew that how important is the ERP for any business who wants to be successful in the market. So the precise answer is that it should be as soon as possible, but that as soon as it's very difficult to say that when that soon comes. But for me, it should be within when we have a minimum viable products ready. You're going to the customer, you're testing the customer, and you see that the response is coming from the customer, and you are there to be in the market, and you are there to be growing in the market. Then I think first thing should be taken care of, having a system in place. Because if customers start to come in, flow in, initially you can manage it. But if that is not serviced properly, not given a proper right product to them, that response will go down. And that is only possible when you have all things of your own organization are in your control. And that's why my answer is that it should be within a couple of months, maybe 9 to 12 months. And exactly what we have done after our inception, within 9 to 12 months, we have taken a decision going for the NetSuite.
Thank you, Karan. Can we have the next slide with the third question, please? Moderator, could we also launch the poll? Attendees, please select the answer that you find most appropriate for this question. We have a few more seconds to answer this question, and then we move on to the panel discussion. Okay, here are the results for the third poll question. The question was, what are the top 3 key factors that will influence the selection of an ERP system? Vishal, the ERP system is at the heart of any business enterprise, and hence it is very important to make an informed decision to shortlist and choose the right system. In your opinion, can you elaborate on the key criteria that customers should keep in mind?
Yeah, that's a good question, Tanmay, right? And it was interesting to see, the results, from an alignment to business domain point of view, to set up an implementation cost, to future ready scalability. Those are the top 3 responses that we received, right? And this is exactly what we do, right? And if you circle back to my earlier slides, we spoke about vertical specialization, right? And this is exactly what NetSuite does. We do not have a one-size-fits-all global ERP system where we say that, look, there is a one-size-fits-all global ERP system. You do a detailed 6-month exercise on requirement gathering, then you do system mapping, the entire implementation costs escalate, and the implementation usually takes over 1 year to deploy. We have verticalized approach based on the vertical and micro verticals that our customers serve in, right? Which is where the alignment to a particular business domain really comes up, right? When we are working with a manufacturing customer, we want to talk the manufacturing language with them. When we are working with a software and services customer, we talk the software and services, language with them, right? A software company would be more interested in the project management and how do they, handle the project management, look at project profitability, time and attendance, and all of those things. A manufacturing customer will both be interested in production, plant maintenance, and all of those things, right? So this is where the alignment to the business domain comes in. Now, because we are so vertical focused, right? There are pre-built templates within the system, and that significantly simplifies the entire implementation process, right? On top of that, we've got specialist partners like Intelliswift who bring in the consulting expertise, who bring in the vertical expertise, right? They actually, walk to the customer and say, hey, Mr. Customer, there are so many processes that actually you can simplify. If you're doing certain activities with 4 or 5 clicks, I've seen them, advise customers where they actually improve the product and efficiencies of the customer, by almost 30 to 40%, right? And that's where the implementation and setup costs become, very, very rationalized, by simplifying processes. And I've been talking a lot about scalability as well, right? Which is the flexibility we give to our customers. We've seen that a lot of the small customers who started with only financial accounting, they've added operations, a lot of the manufacturing customers, they are now going, e-commerce way. And we have a ready-made module and a ready-made solution for them to quickly deploy, right? So the key factors, all of these, I can so relate to it. We address a lot of these key factors. But I also want to tell you this. The underlying fundamental, Tanmay, for a lot of these businesses is, one is if you talk to the CFOs, if you talk to the CEOs, they want controls in the system, which is where a strong system like NetSuite will give them all the necessary controls. They want visibility into what's happening into the business. They want dashboards into the historical trends so that they can take a futuristic forecast call in terms of the way they want to, direct their business into. And this is what NetSuite gives them through powerful reporting and dashboarding tools, that are built inside the system. And they want the system to be agile. As their business grows, they should not have the need to look at something else. They should be able to scale up the same system, right? So, looking at all these factors, we request our customers to make, their ERP selection and decisions.
Thank you, Vishal. Karthik, being a solutions partner, you have taken customers across the implementation journey. Did customers' perspectives and the key criteria change during or post the implementation?
Right. Great question, Tanmay. So in my experience, typically when you start with implementing the ERP, generally the objectives from the customers, senior management at a strategic level, that's pretty clear, right? So obviously they're looking at a quantifiable reduction in a given process time. Obviously real-time data visibility, which I think Vishal and Karan mentioned earlier, right? So that they can with the ability to forecast their demand as best as possible. Obviously adherence to certain regulatory and statutory requirements and so on, right? Now this is at a strategic level, right? At a senior management level. Now, when you drill down into the individual functions, right? So when you actually, for a manufacturing organization, for example, let's say, shop floor has a specific requirement, or order management has a specific requirement. Their finance team would have a specific requirement, right? So they probably would want to know, okay, how do I get visibility into real-time invoice aging, for example, right? So as a service provider, right, our intent is always to map these individual requirements to the larger overall objectives, to the strategic goals. And in fact, NetSuite to a large extent obviously provides for such features. NetSuite is extremely adaptable. The suite success approach methodology, across industries, in fact, is very efficient, right? But having said that, of course, in the course of the implementation, there's always some nuance of a business process, right? Which typically may emerge only when you're probably testing NetSuite, right? Or testing the ERP, right? Probably in the UAT phase. Again, because it's very difficult to capture all the use cases, right? And I just saw someone writing the poll as well, right? So the ability to, so I wouldn't say customize, but the system also has to be very configurable and personalizable, right? You don't have to write code to customize, right? But when such a scenario occurs, when the certain use case, which perhaps was not considered as part of the requirements, it is absolutely required for the business. That's when, you really need that ERP to adapt fast, right? Because you cannot kind of hold up the implementation, right? So with that respect, of course, there are certain key criteria which is could be it could change during the course of the implementation, but at the end of the day, obviously if the ERP is scalable, if it is adaptable, then it should not be a big challenge.
Thank you, Karthik. Can we now have the slide with the fourth poll question, please? Moderator, can you launch the poll question as well? Attendees, this question has slightly less time as we're on a time crunch. So I request you to kindly answer the question in about 15 to 20 seconds, please. I hope you're able to see the results of the fourth poll question. The question was, what are the top 3 business functions that will be catalysts for growth in your organization? Karan, can you elaborate on 1 or 2 business functions that have transformed your business operations post ERP implementation?
Yeah, sure. So I think everybody will be agree that and looking at the poll that can show that most important function for any organization is the financial management, and I'm very much agree with that, because when we started when we were doing into the spreadsheets, it was very difficult for us to get the complete overview of our payable, our receivable, and then our inventory, and getting P&L statement by end of the month. All these things was very challenging. So financial management should be the first process to be automated. Then the other thing is, once you have financial management is in place, then the customer and order management, because you are serving to customers, you should understand that how the orders are flowing in, how the customer getting their service, their product delivered, what the feedback is coming from the customer. And the third thing is procurement, because you need to have a clear overview about your inventory, and your vendors should be paid on time. Otherwise, the whole process will get collapsed. So all these 3 things, I think for any organization when starting with the ERP, they should have these 3 things in place. And then over the period of time and based on the availability of budget, they can always go for the sales and marketing and HR management.
Thank you, Karan. Vishal, based on your key customer profiles in India, what have been the top priorities from a business functions perspective? Where do they start and how do they evolve?
Well, actually speaking, if we go by the poll results, all business functions are important. You can't say that one business function is more important than the other business function, and that's what the poll results depicted. I think sales, marketing, financial management, customer order management, manufacturing, procurement, more or less were decimal points different from here and there. And then you had the HR management, which had slightly lower sort of importance to the overall business function, right? And that's what we also observe, right? It is essentially whenever a business or a company is looking at deploying an ERP solution, what is it that they want to prioritize, right? Depending upon the business priorities, depending upon the level of budgets that they have and the readiness of the organization to deploy a robust, scalable ERP solution. Usually most organizations start by deploying the financial management due to the compliance requirements, due to the controls. Obviously they want to do more business and have greater visibility into sales and marketing. From a forecasting standpoint, they want to be able to project what is the revenue expected, what is the overall pipeline that will help them meet their growth and revenue objectives. For the customers, they want to have a complete 360-degree view of the customers, in order to ensure that they are able to service their customers well, right? So these are the top key priorities that we have observed. While I will say that you cannot segregate one function being more important from the other. All functions are important for all high growth companies, right? It's just how these businesses want to prioritize. But I can tell you this, we at NetSuite are always ready, based on the priorities that our customers and their businesses want to outlay.
Thank you, Vishal. Just as a follow-up question to that, how is NetSuite suited to meeting India's specific compliance regulations?
Oh, we are ready, right? We have a very, very powerful tax engine. We meet the Indian compliance regulations that's pre-built, within the system, right? And this is a hot question, right? Everybody wants to know from a localization standpoint, from a compliance standpoint. That's the USP that we really give to our customers, because always the bigger question is, if it's a global ERP, does it meet my local compliance requirements? Does it meet my localization requirements, right? So we are ready. We understand the dynamics of the market. We give importance, to ensuring our customers, are able to meet, the statutory requirement, the compliance requirements of our geography. And so is the case for India, right? We have very, very specific focus in India. We're making a lot of investments in India because, we are seeing that traction build up in the Indian market, right? So we're completely ready to that.
Thank you, Vishal. Thank you so much, panelists, for taking the time to answer these questions and for enhancing our understanding of the topic. And thank you, attendees, for taking the time to answer the poll. Just a gentle reminder again to keep posting any questions you may have in the Q&A box for panelists to answer later on. As we do have a bit of a time constraint, we won't be able to answer them live, but our panelists will answer them for sure later on and reach out to you.
So Tanmay, I know we are running out of time, but I think it will help if we can just run through the, there is a key takeaway. I think Intelliswift has a very, very strong value proposition that I really do not want any of our audiences to miss. I think if we can just bring up that slide. Karthik, I'll let you everybody walk through that, because I think it's a very, very important, offering from Intelliswift.
Yes, absolutely. If there are any key takeaways you would like to share with us, please do, Mr. Vishal, Karthik, and Karan.
So, at the end of the session, really wanted to, call about our, capabilities in the NetSuite Solutions Lab. Here, we are able to work with our customers, to be able to demonstrate some of the capabilities of NetSuite, provide you some consulting that you may be required to assess your maturity, your asset state, capture some of your requirements, and some recommendations that to be stated specifically for those industries and domains where you're not sure about how you could leverage NetSuite as a platform and how scalable it is, how it can be customized to your organization. This is where we could provide you some consulting at our cost. Again, depending on your area of interest, we could also help you with piloting some of the specific use cases and do a detailed demo as well. So this will be enabled by our solution labs and would consist of certified NetSuite consultants who would be able to help you in this process of deciding on the right ERP platform. Just the last slide in terms of the value centricity certainty that we bring from Intelliswift. As I mentioned earlier, we have close to 30 plus NetSuite engagements overall with a pool of certified NetSuite consultants. We have the capability to provide lifecycle service capabilities right from advisory and consulting to giving you a roadmap from where you can start and how you could evolve as you go. Because of our multiple engagements over the years, we have built multiple accelerators from migration to integration to automation. These are just a short list, but we have many accelerators that could be leveraged across industry domains, and the value that we could bring to our partnerships is by offering them as part of our implementation services. And lastly, having worked with customers, the mid-size and the small-size companies, we have very high CSAT, customer satisfaction index, and we are open to working on the right model for you. Could be a fixed price, could be a time and material, and the capacity based. And we've walked our customers through a lot of our engagements, specifically around how we could take them from a shorter time to market, cost, and value to their company. And we'll be glad to be a part of your journey should you decide to embark on the Oracle NetSuite journey. So thank you again, and over to you, Tanmay.
Thank you, Shekhar. Well, this brings us to the end of today's webinar. I thank everyone for being a part of this session. I hope you all have gained some useful insights to this webinar. And I would also like to thank all the panelists for making this such an interesting discussion. This is your host, Tanmay, signing off. Have a wonderful day ahead. Goodbye.